client hot seat. So we've got Taj on the client hot seat. We've also got our head coach, Stacey, who's going to back us up today, give us some insights in terms of the programming side of things. But Taj, you are the main man. We want to hear from you. The things that I want to take from this in terms of anybody listening in, clients, people that have maybe thought about, working with us at some point, wanting to learn more about the Complete Health Rewire and what we do. What I really want to take from this is the game plan, the strategy side of things that you can implement into your own journeys, because there's always something we can learn from somebody that's gone through the process, that's 1 week, 2 weeks, 2 months, 3 months ahead of you. And it's really important that we just tune into that today. What are the things that Taj has done really, really well? What are the things that we could maybe learn from and adapt and apply to our own journeys? And where is it going to show up in our lives? That's something that we talked about, Taj, just beforehand. The goal itself is one thing, but where is it going to show up in your life? Where is it going to help? Where is it going to add value? So these are the sorts of areas that I want to focus on today. So I'm going to try not to do too much talking. And Taj, I know you said you don't feel your age, but I think it's worth just noting you joined us, 53-year-old male from a different continent, obviously not being based in the UK. So I just want to highlight that. We've done this completely remotely, completely online. We haven't done it face-to-face or one-to-one other than the calls that we've had via Zoom. And I think that's incredible. So I just wanted to highlight that. Taj, over to you, man. Let's just start off with what have you achieved? What have you achieved physically in this journey today?
No, thank you, Jagdish. I want to start off first with a big thanks to yourself and Stacey. Both of you have been super through this journey. I actually started this 6 months ago. It was in May. We went, I think it was the middle of May where we did the 2-week assessment. But it was like May 30th or the 31st where we formally kicked off the program. And the results are there. Overall, if I was to look at what I see visibly right away is the fact that I'm down 19 kilograms in weight. My measurements are down like 61 centimeters all over, so that's impressive. My waist size, I was wearing size 38 pants before. I just did a shopping spree back in September and went down to size 34. But the size 34 right now, I knew that was going to be an interim set of clothing that I bought. I didn't buy too much. I bought a couple of pants and stuff like that. But I think I'll be a size 32 most likely by the time Christmas rolls around. So I'm really pleased with the progress that I've made so far in this 6 months. And like everyone else here, I'm signed up for this for 1 year. So I'm really looking forward to what the next 6 months brings. And, for me being here in Vancouver, a different continent, I will say, though I'm not on the CHR chat very often, I do follow it. I do read the commentary that's on there. Obviously I'm not on the calls at 4 a.m. My time, which is noon your time, but I do listen to the podcast afterwards, and I take a lot of value out of the stories and your guys' own personal feedback that you're giving there. There's so many little nuggets that I've picked up throughout this journey that have been very helpful. For me, it definitely hasn't been something like, hey, I'm going into a program just to lose weight. I've taken a lot of value out of it in a lot of ways.
I think this is something that's quite important to recognize. Although there is an obvious challenge that you can't join the live events, but you still make it happen. You listen to the podcast. You've asked us questions afterwards based on the things you've heard as well. And then obviously we talk about these things via our chat. One of the most amazing things about working with you has been just the constant communication. I don't think we've had one day or 1 week where I wouldn't say one day, because I think you've got to the point now where you don't need to message us every day, but there's not 1 week that's gone by that we haven't heard from you. We haven't had an update. We haven't had some questions to support you with, whether it be from training, nutrition, just lifestyle perspective. So that's been something that's been really important to us. And that's, for me, one of the biggest nuggets that everyone can take away from today is that level of communication gets you big wins. But I also appreciate it that you've tuned into the podcast and taken value from that too.
Oh, 100%. I think the communication, the reality of this is a virtual training program. So whether I'm sitting here in Canada or I could be in India or Australia or whatever, it's only going to work to my benefit if it's a two-way street of exchanging information and asking questions. And hey, when the questions are asked, the answer is right there. If not within the hour, I get it the same day. So very happy with how the program to date has worked out for me. And like I said, I look forward to the next 6 months.
Well, Tej, do you mind me asking, when was the last time you were like 19, 20 kilos down? When was the last time you'd gone from maybe a 38 to a 32? Can you remember when that was?
You know, now that I'll talk a little bit about age now. Okay, yes, I'm 53, even though I don't feel like 53. You know, probably the last time I was like this was, I'm no kidding you, probably my late teens or early 20s. I remember when I went to university, my first year at university was in 1986. I remember that, quite a skinny guy going to school and all of that. And yeah, so it's easily been, I've been married 27 years. So I'd say it's probably about 30 years ago, maybe 30, 32 years ago when I was this size.
And do you know what this really puts it into perspective, right? Because obviously there's so much that goes on in, 30, 32 years. You've talked there, university, marriage, obviously work, your career growth, children, so much that's kind of been packed into that time frame. Do you think maybe some of those challenges and obstacles and all the things that you've kind of got into over those years maybe led to the weight gain in the first place?
I think the weight gain for me from a personal level, it's definitely, I think as you get older, you put on weight gain. I think for me, growing up as a kid, even as a teenager, I always had this little belly around me, even though I was quite skinny with the arms and the legs. I always had the belly fat around me. And then I guess, as a byproduct of life, you get older, you get married, you eat better, your income goes up, so you spend more money on food and alcohol. And I enjoy my time going out and everything like that. But I think as over time, for me personally, I really didn't pay much attention to what I was consuming and what the content. And it was, I just go with it, not eat my meals on a regular basis. I mean, I'd often in my early part of my career, even to the mid part of my career, just to let everybody know, I'm a CPA, so I'm a chartered professional accountant. I've been doing the trade for the last 30 years. However, in the last 5 years, I kind of moved out of finance. I've been in various management positions ever since the early 90s. I currently work for an air conditioning company, Train. They're global, they're around the world, they're into residential and commercial HVAC. So I oversee, when I started with the company, I've been in the current position, I've been here 15 years. And I started off as the finance leader controller for Western Canada. And I did that for a number of years. It was good, but I got to a point in my career where, hey, there's more to finance. Finance is a great bridge to everything else. So I said, look, I want to expand myself and go into different management roles. So I've gone into operations management. The latest gig that I'm doing is around Six Sigma and productivity improvements. So a lot of that. So to answer your question about the food, yeah, I didn't really pay attention to what I was eating. And like a lot of people, very hard at work, put the hours in, you work hard, you play hard. I have 2 kids, a son and a daughter. So my son is 25. He's pursuing broadcasting school in Toronto. My daughter's 21, going to university, wants to become a teacher. My kids were in a lot of sporting activities, a lot of running around in the early years. But now, they're grown up and on their own, so I've had to transition. But one of the things that kind of stood out for me was, as I went through life, don't get me wrong, I had really good life, really enjoyed it, good family. I'd probably look at it, I didn't really take care of myself and value what I was consuming and eating, and hence the health started to deteriorate a bit. And you hear it so much out there, particularly in the South Asian community. Got to be careful of diabetes and those kind of things, and cholesterol. And in my family, diabetes is quite a real problem, particularly on my mom's side of the family. My mom's got it quite bad, and so do some aunts and uncles. And it was something over the years. I started getting checked in my 40s, and I was not diabetic. I was maybe not even borderline, but it's something to watch out for. I think in the last couple of years, obviously the weight gain got a bit more significant. And I think COVID had a huge impact. Last year with the lockdowns, more time. I mean, I was going into the office, but spending way too much time behind a desk all day long. And because of COVID, I stopped even going to the doctor. I said, oh, there's no point going to see him. I'll go see him at a future date. And actually, I kicked off this year with every year with New Year's resolutions. Oh, okay, I'm going to kick off the new year. I'm not going to drink. I'm going to eat a little bit better. And yeah, so I was doing that January, February, and March. March came along and I said, you know what? I better go get some blood work done, check that sugar level, see what that cholesterol level at and all of that. I did that and I was totally shocked when I got the results. The results came back from the doctor. Hey, Taj, you're diabetic. I'm putting you on metformin. Got to put you on blood pressure medication too, 10 milligrams. And then, yeah, your cholesterol is high. And I go, oh my God. So it was a real wake up call for me. At that point, I thought, okay, I really let my health slip and didn't really focus on it like the way I should be. So for me, kind of just jumping into how I met you, Juggy, was I was going to the gym. Don't get me wrong. I've been going to the gym all my life. I've done that. I'm not somebody that was totally inactive. I go to the gym. By nature, I'm an early riser. I get up every day at 4 o'clock. Now I do at 4 o'clock. Before it was 5 o'clock. Up at 4, I do the workout, do my work. But like I said, what I wasn't doing was I'm skipping breakfast, skipping lunch, having lunch at 2:30. Oh yeah, because I got to get this done. A lot of work, and then I said, okay, I really got to change things up. And for me, what came up was, okay, I was going to the gym, but hey, I gotta find somebody that's more than just a trainer. I've previously worked with trainers and I've had some great success. I remember when my daughter was born and she's the second born in the family. And she was born, I was a year into it. I was like 32 years old. I said, okay, I'm going to get a trainer. And I think I'll go with pounds. I was weighing like 210 pounds or whatever it was. And I started working. This trainer was fantastic. I did a great job with her. I lost 30 pounds with her. It was great while it lasted, while I was with her. But then when the program was over, I reverted back to the old habits and stuff like that. That weight came back pretty quickly. And this time around, I said to my wife, Raminder, I said, geez, I got to do something more seriously. She said she agreed, but she was a little bit skeptical. She goes and says, we've been down this road before. How do you feel that you're going to go, whoever you're going to meet, whether it's Juggy or whatever, what do you think is going to change this time? What if you do this? She wasn't being negative because she didn't want me to succeed. She wanted me to succeed. She goes and says, what's going to happen? You finish it and they show you how to do an exercise and then you revert back to your old stuff. And I go, no, this is different. I started following Juggy actually not for very long. It was probably so I signed up in May. We started chatting in April. I'd say it was maybe the end of February or the early March when I found him on social media. And the message started to resonate with me. And I said, okay, well, I knew at this stage of my life, I should have figured this out a lot earlier. I knew at this stage of my life, this isn't strictly about, losing weight and all of that. Hey, this program's rightly called CHR, Complete Health Wire, for a reason. I knew this is going to be more than just working out. I got to change my diet, my eating, but I also got to be able to practice relaxation and de-stress myself and that kind of stuff. I said, really? Because it's all interlocked, all three of those things. And that's what I said this time around. If I'm going to do this, this is what I'm looking for. Now, mind you, we did have our first consult and we had the discussion. And I mean, I didn't jump into it right away thinking, okay, I'm going to do this for sure. I kind of said, no, I'm going to set up the call. Let's see what Juggy and Stacy have to say. And they did their thing. And then I was a little bit, I'd be very honest with you. I said, okay, before I do this, I mean, this guy's sitting in the UK. Don't even know him. Yeah, I got a bunch of family. I can fly over to the UK and I kind of know where he is because I got a lot of family in the Midlands and my wife's family is down in Kent in that area. And I said, okay, you know what? it's COVID, it's lockdown, doesn't matter. Even here, I wouldn't be able to see somebody here anyway. So I knew it was the right thing. I deep down, I said, I made that kind of leap of faith. I'm going to do this. And voila, here I am, 6 months. Hopefully I didn't go on too long there, but that's kind of how I got here.
Honestly, natural, just everything you said, it's like a natural storyteller telling us all the details of actually questions I was going to ask you. I mean, beyond the physical, achievements that you've gained here, but more importantly, the why, because I think that's so important. Why did you want to do this when you did this? And you talked there about your health. You talked there about having that almost that shock factor when you saw those numbers, when you saw that medication, when you saw those prescriptions, and realizing actually now I need to do this. Do you think though, Taj, it may be difficult to answer, but do you think though that some people wait too long to start prioritizing it? Do you think maybe they're waiting for the medication, or they're waiting for that diagnosis to come through before really making a significant change?
I actually, yeah, I do. I do think that the question is specifically around, doing something about your health. And I do think that, because I think people have a bit of fear in them. They go, I don't know if I can really do this, right? Or you have this inner doubt within you that I don't know if I can be able to do this. I could have used age as a crutch and said, oh, geez, I can't do this because I'm too old to do this. Or I could have come up with a number, because, oh, maybe the timing isn't good. I'll wait till the new year to come. It's not the right time to do it now. For me, it was just black and white at that point. The health numbers were just terrible. And I said, okay, this is not a good sign. And I had my mom and dad are still live on their own, and they're fine. And my mom I look at her now, she's like half the person she was even 5 years ago.
Yeah.
My mom was somebody that didn't retire at 65. She was working like an ox at 72 years old, and she's 75 now. She obviously doesn't work now. And I look at her and I go, I don't want the same thing to happen to me. And I need to be on this earth for a lot longer than 10, 15 years. I got to be here longer than that. So yeah, I think people are reluctant because it comes down to maybe the confidence level. Maybe it's, some people could say it's the money. I kind of thought about the money too. Being an accountant, I got to watch where I spend my dollars. That I kind of thought, you know what, this really, if you're going to do something about it, you got to be mentally prepared to do it, and know deep down that this is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So for me, I mean, I just said, take the steps to do it step by step. And if it wasn't right for me, I would have probably noticed that in the first month. I would have said to myself, this is just a waste of time. Why am I doing this? Yeah. I sold into the program right away. I bought into the program right away. I said, this is great. The trend, the tracking is there through the apps, the weekly report, the check-ins were there. The support that you provide was there. But yeah, your question is fair. Do people feel reluctant? And the reluctancy for me, I think, comes from maybe people don't believe in themselves or don't have the confidence in them to do something like this. But hey, for me, I look at it and, I walk around. I definitely, obviously, people in my office and who I work with notice and they go, wow, this is incredible what you've done. My family, because of COVID, I haven't seen a ton of them, and I'm starting to see more and more of them now. They're like just totally amazed. Like, what have you done to yourself and all of that? So, and most of it's been good. Yeah, there might be a few people thinking, oh, why did he do that? And he's going to gain it all back, sort of thing. Well, there's a few doubters like that, but that doesn't faze me, right? I know I've done the right thing, and I've got the support of my kids, my wife. They've been really phenomenal through this whole thing. And they go, you're doing something and it makes a difference. I mean, Juggy, you mentioned even in the work environment. I used to be the type of guy, even though the finance guy, kind of behind the scenes, the numbers guy, I'd be kind of the guy behind the scenes. I'd listen to what people have to say, give my input, but I think I would let the stress load get to me because I'd take on more work than I really needed to do. And I kind of thought, and prior to this program, and I started to back off a little bit with the workload. And I go, I'm one person. I don't run this company on my own. It's a team. I got to work with the team, and we've got to be able to pull our own weight. But this, by doing the training, I mean, here's a real life comparison. Prior to this, if for example, with COVID last year, if I got stressed or I came home, worked late, oh, I'll have a glass of wine, I'll sit there, turn the TV on. I actually had I'm fortunate enough, I live like a half-hour walk to the beach. It's a beautiful walk down to the beach. My wife and my kids last summer, come on, Taj, we're going down to the beach. Come on, Dad. No, I'm busy. I got to do work. I wouldn't even go for that half-hour walk. I said, forget it. I'm not going for a walk right now. You guys enjoy. Now I'm out there walking every day. Rain or shine, no problem. Get that 10,000 steps, my targeted every day, no problem. I've got that down to a T where I get that in. What I'm trying to get at there is this going to the training has really opened up a lot of things for me. It's really the stress and anxiety, for sure, it's still there. Life's going to bring you stress and anxiety. But for me, the stress is really diminished around the workplace. I feel a lot more confident, not only from an appearance perspective, but I think the added energy and the fact that I'm having balanced meals, I'm coming into meetings quite more confident, a lot more energetic. I'll even bring up the vision statement. The initial vision statement focused so much around health metrics. I got to do this, got to focus on getting this done, got to manage stress. Well, we revisited the vision statement, I think, as we were completing the foundation stage and before going into the acceleration. I looked at it and compared it to what I originally did. Well, in the new one, I kind of put down, there wasn't as much on the medication. In fact, so being, the diabetic, I have to check my blood sugars every quarter. I went in September, my blood sugars are normal. I'm going to go again in December. I feel confident they'll be normal. My blood pressure was at 10 milligrams. It's been cut in half down to 5 milligrams. Doctors being just extra cautious wants to see a longer term trend. I feel confident that I should be off the medication, hopefully in a few months and off of that. But the vision statement this time around was not as much on what the health metrics was okay, what can I do now with my life and all of that? And, being at the stage of my life where I am, kids are growing up, they're going to get married. I still got that Indian in me that the big fat Indian wedding has to happen. So I do have to have a bit of a nest egg set aside to look after the kids. But no, I've got to the stage where I'm in early 50s and I thought, I love finance and investing and business and stuff like that. And, I do some stuff on the side. So this has kind of cleared my mind up to think, hey, these are some of the stuff that I need to focus on, whether it's on, land development or getting into some real estate investments or whatever. That's kind of my passion. I get involved in that kind of stuff. So it's given me more power to do that kind of stuff. But it's also just opened up my eyes to say, spending more quality time with the family. Hands down, every Friday or Saturday, we're out, whether we're downtown as a couple. My wife works really hard. She's an accountant as well. Her job consumes her quite a bit. And I think both of us as working professionals have found time. And I Juggy, I think you posted a couple of days ago about, normally when you had your kids or when you had it, you thought, what's going to happen in life is one or my kids are going to consume me and I won't be able to work out or I won't be able to do this. And you've been able to balance those kind of things. I think I'm learning that now and I'm getting to that stage where I can definitely balance my work, my work, pleasure, and the family and all of that. And it's made me all around best person. I'm not saying I'm I figured everything out. I'm the best for it. I think that's the beauty of life, whether you're 50 or whether you're 20 or whether you're 70 or 80, there's always something to learn and to get better.
Do you know what I want to point out there? Because for me, that's, really welcoming challenge. And that's one of the things that it's almost a bullet point that we say in your acceleration phase, you're going to get to a position where you do have that mental clarity, you do have that additional space. And that additional space, you talked about actually financial freedom being one of those goals. So you started to pursue investments, but then pursuing challenge and really chasing down challenges to help you grow. Like most I'm not going to tarnish everybody with the same brush, but most people, if you're feeling tired, if you're feeling low energy, if you're not actually nourishing yourself properly, if you're not exercising, if you're not finding the time to prioritize yourself, it's very, very difficult to see that next level of growth. It's very, very difficult to take that next level up. But I think that's one of the things that really shines through. You've probably heard me say that on the podcast quite a few times, where I've just talked about that, Saj, because that was huge. Stacey, I really want to pull you in here because that initial chat that we had, so that consultation that we had with Taj, where we were going through the baseline information, what was it that stood out for you from a programming perspective that we really needed to get clear on, get focused on, especially in that foundation block? Obviously, we're now in acceleration. Most people that work with us understand first 4 months is about laying the foundations. Beyond that, we start to really ramp it up and work towards the bigger goals. But yeah, Stacey, over to you, really.
I think the biggest things that stood out for me were just those health metrics. I think almost everybody when they start needs to work on being more aerobically fit and getting their nutrition under control. But when you're looking at things like type 2 diabetes and when you're looking at things like medicated high blood pressure and that sort of thing, it just becomes so much more important. So off the bat, really wanting to hammer getting you in really good shape aerobically, Taj, and getting you in really good control of your nutrition and knowing how to manage your carb intake, knowing how to manage your calorie intake, being confident with managing those things and managing it around your lifestyle. I think those were the main things that stood out to me. Yeah. Aside from how incredibly intimidating your wife was on that initial call, that also stood out to me. She was definitely there to make sure we were on track with it all.
Just to let you know, I don't know if she mentioned that she's actually works for the Canadian revenue agency, Canada Revenue Agency. So she's in that type of role where she has to watch out for people. She had a bunch of auditors up, so she comes across looking at always skeptical of people and that.
It's good though. So did we pass that test of skepticism essentially? But I think that was really cool. That initial conversation really going deep in terms of your lifestyle, your health, how you manage your day to day, what you're currently doing, what's working, what isn't working, and actually spending some time getting to know you. That allowed us to put those programs together, to start putting the blueprint together, and for us to even be confident that it's going to work for you. And I think that's one kind of stage or phase that a lot of people just skip over. I've seen people go into programs before where maybe they have a call with a trainer or a coach, and then within 10 minutes, they've got a program lands in their email, in their inbox. And for me, that always is mind-boggling to me, but I think that was a really powerful call.
I think the other thing that was very helpful with Stacey, with the programs that Stacey's provided with me, it's, she doesn't know how my gym looks like and all of that. She's giving me the exercises. What's really good is I go in there and say, you know what, I think today, Stacey, this works great. This is not going to work. And she's tinkered around and she's changed it for me, but she's also come back to me and said, hey, Taj, you're really good. Because if something's really busy, a machine's busy, and I go do something else, she'll tell me, perfect. You didn't let that stop you. You went and did something different, right? So, so that coming back to the communication piece, so important. She'll provide a program, I'll give her the feedback, and then once we're kind of aligned with that, it's been really good for me to then, proceed with the program.
Yeah, and again, that the check-ins, the feedback, the communication by the WhatsApp group has been absolutely phenomenal. But Taj, going into this, you actually mentioned earlier you're in the finance world and had to check your numbers and all that sort of stuff. From my understanding, I've spoken to so many people over the years that have got to that point where we're talking about investment, we're talking about money, and it's a little bit uncomfortable having to put your hand in your pocket and pay for something that I feel a lot of people believe that they should be able to do themselves. They think, I should be able to control this myself. Why should I have to pay for something? So when you originally heard what the investment was and you were joining us, how did that make you feel? And how did you get over that? How did you decide and decide to actually jump into the program?
It's a good question. That's for sure. When I first approached you, or for that matter, any other somebody that's going to offer me training services, I looked at it this way, right? I kind of said to myself that, hey, this is an investment in myself. And if I go, for example, reaching out to yourself, Juggy, and the team there, I kind of thought, hey, these are professionals. They know what they're doing. I'm not the expert on how the exercise program should run. Heck, I don't even know the stuff that I'm eating is really good. Yeah, I know the general stuff, eat more veggies and that kind of stuff. I go, no, if you're going to do this proper, you're going to want to be with a group of professionals that knows what they're talking about. So for me, yeah, there was kind of some thought around upfront investment. I go, that's a lot of money, but you know what? It's a well worth investment because I know the services that you provide are proven. It's not something that, this is a fly by night operation and you do this and hey, here's a program for you. We write it out and you're gone sort of thing. This is the real deal. I mean, you guys are there to teach people. So I guess my advice to people is when you're looking at something like this for your life, think about yourself first, what it is you want out of this. Ask yourself if is this something that you can really accomplish on your own? If it is, then you're fortunate. But I think for most people it isn't. Yeah. And for me, I did not know a lot of the stuff that I know now. I had no knowledge of beforehand in terms of carbohydrates or fat content or protein. And protein. Protein to me was have a steak, have some chicken, and that's good enough. Now it's like wow, now I totally get this stuff. So the answer to it is what you pay for is what you get back. If not in dividends, you get paid back in the payback on it. For me was, I don't need to wait for a year for the payback on this for this particular investment. The payback's already happened.
That's powerful. Honestly, that's really powerful. I know that there's going to be people on the call right now that not only resonate with that, but they've probably got a few questions for you too. Taj, if I just almost finish my interview and grilling of you with this, where are we going now? I mean, you're 19 kilos down, 61 centimeters down. Why not just walk away from the program now? You've achieved probably more than you thought you would have even anticipated you would achieve in this short frame of time. So, but why are we here and what comes up next and why?
Well, for me, I'm very clear in my mind, hey, this is only the midpoint. I still have a lot to accomplish in the next 6 months. And, maybe going into this program, had I lost this much and think I was going to lose this, I might have walked away. This is truly, as you guys refer to it, this is a transformation. This is a transformation journey. I can't wait to see what the next 6 months brings. I know I got a vision. I know where I want to be. And right now going through this acceleration phase, we're going really hard at losing that last bit of fat, which is around the lower belly, and that'll kind of go away. And my vision is that, come the new year, I really want to focus on building more lean muscle, a little bit more body definition and tone. I think I'll walk away as a graduate next May, looking back at it and I go, this is something that I'm going to carry on for the rest of my life, sort of thing. So for me, this is, I'm motivated by this. I would say one thing, if there is consistency in my life, and sure you have your joys in life and your low points and all that. In the last 6 months, probably my health regime and working out and eating has been very consistent.
Yeah.
It's just been there, it's stable. It's just like I've learned it. So, but I still have to look at the app every day. I still got to do all that stuff. I am not cheating myself that way. And it was a huge relief to me a couple of weeks ago when Stacy said, you know what, you're doing so great. Forget about tracking your veggies. Just make sure you're eating your veggies and all of that kind of stuff. So, you know what, the next 6 months, super excited what it has to bring. So I'm in it for the next 6 months, and you know what, and I'm pretty sure that I'll be connected to you and this entire team on the CHR chat thereafter. So I'm not going anywhere.
I like that a lot, man. And do you know what? You said something, Sony said this, Stacey, right? Eating well, tracking things, training, exercise, get my steps in. It's like drinking water now. So it's just the same as drinking water. It's just the same as breathing air. It's just normal. And I think that's where you're at, Taj. It's just, this is you now. And this is where are we going to take it next? I think that's a really cool place to be.
It's so powerful because that's where I am now.
Yeah.
If you had asked me this question maybe 3 months ago, and I'm at the foundation stage or just approaching it, I'd still have my doubts. I'll go, oh my God, I'm going out for lunch today or for dinner, and I'd be, in the back of my mind, I really don't want to go, but in my job and my role, I have to be out, wining and dining, being with guests, and I would be really, really kind of petrified to go out. But now it's like, it's not a big deal. We'll go. Like, I think my last report that I filed on Friday, TC commented, a little bit of variability there for 3 days. I said, oh yeah, I went out Thursday night. My nephew was in town. Friday I was downtown, went to some Christmas event. Saturday I was out at a birthday party. So to your point, I think I've learned stuff that I feel confident enough that I'm not gonna fall off the wagon or anything like that.
And that, for me, that's the long term. This is why when we do a transformation and we do it right, in 10 years time, I could come back to you, Taj, and you'd still be here. You'd still be progressing. You'd still be training. You'd still be moving. And I think we've been inspired by some people in your local area that are still doing that sort of stuff, climbing mountains and whatnot. And we talked about that. That's a goal. That's a vision. Why not us? Why can't that be us when we're in our 70s? So, guys, I've spoken a lot. Taj has given so much value here. I'm handing it over to anybody in the audience, as it were. Questions. Congratulations for Taj. I think that's probably worth it. Unmute yourself. Let's all just applaud Taj's work so far, and also focus on questions. Ask, what can we ask Taj now that we can utilize going forwards into our journey? And Inderpreet, I'm always going to come to you because you are host number 2. What have you learned today, and what are you going to take going forwards? And do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions. It's more just, and I feel like I say this every time, but Taj, listening to your story, I feel like you are me in 15 years time if I hadn't taken this journey. It's similar mindset at work. I know I don't have a finance background, but when you start talking about Six Sigma, I was like, yes, this is my man. I know this. I know, it definitely resonated with me. And I was like, wow, if I hadn't taken this journey, I think, Juggy, when you and I had our chat, I said, if I don't do this now, it will be another year gone by, another potentially 10 kilo put on. So yeah, I just think, listen to your story, Taj, it's just powerful that you took this control. You made these changes, but not just made changes, you've learned the habits for a lifetime.
No, thank you. It really has been powerful. And, it's like anything you can look at in retrospect, and I could have done this. And yeah, I probably could have done this 15 years ago, but at that stage of my life, I didn't know about that. So, yeah.
Well, 15 years ago, we didn't have the internet the way we have it, right? So yes. Let's be honest, you wouldn't have had Juggy on your Instagram feed or your Facebook feed. And that's the power of social media. The other thing I was going to say, Juggy, you raised a question about why people are reluctant to join programs like this. And I think a lot of it is confidence, but I also think that until something smacks you in the face that makes you realize I have to make a change, you're not going to make that change. And for you, Taj, it was seeing your health results come up the way they were. And for a lot of people, especially of my parents' generation, because they're such workhorses, like you're saying about your mum, that they just keep going. It's only until something goes wrong that they take stock and realize, wait, I need to change something or I won't be here forever.
Yeah, but for me now, I think we're the generation of change. I think that's really, really important to recognize. I think our children going forwards will have that health focus, will have that mindfulness towards stress, anxiety, how they're managing it, what coping strategies they can utilize that isn't food, that isn't alcohol, that isn't drugs, or whatever else it might be. So I think this is so important to raise that question, have real people answer it. That's not me, because I just come across preachy most of the time. And to be honest, I don't have all the answers either. Like Taj said in his interview there, we're all on a learning journey. We're all on a learning curve. And there's going to be challenges that we face today, tomorrow, next week, next month. They're all going to be different. But it's how we can create that resilience and that inner strength to manage them going forwards. And that's something that really stood out to me there. But yeah, awesome. Suk just dropped a comment in here. Amazing, Taj. Great example of discipline, something I need to take away from your view today. Hats off. And so cool you could do this across the globe, taking advantage of lockdowns. Absolutely. So we did take a bit of an advantage of that lockdown, Taj, just to connect. Because if it wasn't for lockdown, you may not have seen my social media, or you may have, had those reports earlier and done something slightly different there. So yeah, I won't thank COVID, but I'll thank the fact that we had the internet to actually connect. Guys, any other questions, thoughts, anything you want to share? I think Sonny messaged me separately, and he said he feels your pain with shopping. He's in that interim phase as well. He just doesn't know what size to buy, so he's been a little bit cautious about what to invest in recently. sort of just said thank you to social media. Taj, I can't wait to see that picture. You know, you always see these weight loss pictures where people have got their old trousers on.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see that picture where you just.
Well, it's actually quite funny in my bedroom, my master bedroom. It's a big enough room. I've got a section in the corner there that got this huge, massive garbage bag where I'm going to donate all the clothes that I have to a charity or whatever. But I was looking at it and I'm going, my God, I have pretty much have emptied out my wardrobe that's in the closet there, and it's sitting in that bag. So I haven't given it away quite yet, but I think I will pull out a couple of those as mementos to compare to. This is what I used to be, and this is what I'm fitting into today, and who knows what I'll fit into in a couple of months from now.
I don't know if you guys get Come Dine With Me or the UK version of it, but I remember watching when it first, you know, all kicked off, and it was one of the early seasons. This woman had a pair of trousers that hung behind her bathroom door.
Yeah.
And later on, it was revealed that her entire menu was from like the Weight Watchers cookbook, and she's trying to prove to people that Weight Watchers food could be tasty. But the trousers were literally huge. Like, she had them on a skirt hanger, and they were the width of the bathroom door, and that was the size she used to be.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Definitely worth keeping as a memento, Taj, and especially maybe if you've got grandkids one day. No pressure on your children.
You know, kids these days, particularly I think it's pretty safe to say, even here in Canada, I'm sure in a lot of other places in the world, the kids aren't going to get an arranged marriage happening here. And I certainly told them, I ain't going to find your spouse for you. You guys go find your own. And good enough. They're for the most part, I'm sure they'll find the right person.
Yeah. But for me now, it's like, I mean, well, looking at you and seeing where you're going to take this long term. And I mean, when we're 70, we should be still looking at those challenges, thinking about what we can add to our lives, where we can actually push ourselves. Age, we've joked about this on social media as well. Age is just one of those numbers. You don't feel that way. I've spoken to people in their 30s that do feel that way. I've spoken to people in their 30s that feel like they're 40, feel that they're 50. They're not taking on the challenges every day because they're bogged down by it all. But to even hear you say, I don't feel my age, I think that's testament to you and testament to all the work that you've done.
Thank you.
I don't see any further questions at the moment. Taja, as you know, this is going to go on the podcast, so we're probably going to get a ton of feedback from there. I'll be sharing that with you so we can all celebrate together. And I'm looking forward to this next step. Taja, it is your holiday after all, so go and enjoy your day. I appreciate your time. And
yeah, no, I really appreciate it. Hey, thank you to everyone and to the entire community. Keep up. I really do look forward to following the posts that everyone sends out there. And hey, we're in this journey together.
Absolutely. And Stacey as well, massive thank you to yourself too. All the hard work, everything you've put in, all the programming, the support, the constant education. So huge shout out to you too. I know a couple of other people on this call will definitely be saying thank you to you as well. So
thanks to Taj for taking it on board.
No, thank you, Stacey. No, thank you.
Brilliant. Awesome, guys. We'll connect again soon. Taj will probably have to do this in about 3 to 6 months' time when your photo shoot ready and you're the camera. But we'll go. Awesome. Take care, everyone. Thank you.